So today's the day where we're gonna do it again. And please subscribe and hit that like button if you want to see more content of gaming and other stuff. So today you haven't seen me play Rec Room, so as I said, we're gonna play Rec Room. Well, I hadn't said that, but I just said Rec Room, so we're gonna play Rec Room today. Today we're gonna like trick people, like my. It's gonna be real funny, boys. So like, it's gonna be real funny. You don't know how funny it's gonna be. Like, they're gonna think I'm a girl, and then I switch my gender to a boy. Oh, one friend online. Yay! Who is that? He is offline. Okay, I only have that guy. Okay. Who's online? Who is online? Where's the other kid that I friended? I'll give you a gift. That's the kid that's offline. So we're gonna do you wanna look at me? Hi. Hello. So we're gonna trick them. Be quiet. Like, everybody's gotta be in the rec center, so yeah. So we're gonna do it, boys. They're gonna feel like I'm a girl, so that until the part playing. But they might recognize me by my name, so the plan might not work.
What? Damn it. Yeah, I know it's you guys spam the chat button.
See, someone's already falling. Oh no, he's not, he's just walking away. Okay, good. What's this? What's this? Okay. Where is everybody? No one's in a rec room. Rec's in Thailand.
How do you fucking jumping?
Give me your pizza.
Fuck pizza. Who wants me to come on their base? Oh, sure, bro. Here, bro. Oh, damn. Alright, here in a second. Hold up.
Alright, you're good.
No, you want to get her the right to that.
All in your
And see, like, they're not falling for it, but like, they will soon to be just.
That boy, look at the proof person. That's
Well,
all
if I
I'm
get
gonna
one message on the Xbox, I'm gonna die.
Yo, Vivid, I'm gonna spam your ass in this. Spam your.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I do not disturb mode on, but I don't know.
No, you have offline mode on. Fucking man.
No, I just never got on Discord.
Yo, я говорю, это ладно,
Oh my god, what an amazing outfit. You bought the starter pack just like me, holy shit.
Yo, yeah.
Yo, Vivid, I'm gonna be your twin, nigga.
The only reason why I ever use, the only reason I ever use like the star pack outfit I have is when I ask people to ask to carry me, Golden, and then When they don't have S-Rank comes to go. And I put on mine. Cause
Oh
I'm
yeah,
a
perfect.
bitch.
Oh.
No, go.
That's shit done. Shish kebab. Look at a boneless pizza.
Non da molto gravi.
Boneless. Gonna go game chat. These kids gonna work it hard. So guys, just be very quiet. I'm putting myself on mute, okay? So be quiet. Like, I mean, just be quiet.
I don't trust you. I don't fucking trust you. Walk around with an eraser and you got so close to my heart, man.
Yeah.
At this
Can you
point,
stop
I just don't
putting
trust
random
anyone.
erasers or like markers and shit without actually going to a board? Because you're going to make people really anxious, and if I see you,
There's only two left. Whose fault is that? That's yours right there.
Who is this person, bro? I swear, you're targeting me. I'm being targeted. I know someone's gonna do it. Someone's gonna do it, and it's gonna be hell annoying, like always.
That you spent all your hard work on that?
Well, actually, as a matter of fact, I've been here for about 2 hours, and this has took me half an hour, and people griefed it twice already.
Oh, really?
Really?
Trying to, what is so not, what's not hard to believe about it? Yeah, sure, it's a shitty TV, but get over it.
It's actually pretty dope, I guess.
Yeah, I have been modding enough in another room to know exactly what that is. Yeah.
I'm done now.
I'll guess anybody's drawing. Okay. This is a dog flare. This is a Jack in the Box with a big booty and some abstract. This is a TV man. This is Sans, obviously. This is very purple.
Better not put your hands on that milk again, bro. That was all you right there.
People bathing in tea. Burning. No,
I
they're
saw
burning
YouTube.
flies.
And it's a fucking land, and it's nothing good.
No, this is her top. I'm going to put more detail to it, which is like a ruffled top. It's kind of all, fluffy. Like this part. But I haven't done any detail to make it look.
No,
Don't know if I can.
Did you know Donald Trump was the first U.S. president to be so freaking trash at his job?
Oh, I'm pretty sure there's been several others.
Yeah, there's been several. But anyway, that was funny. I just had to kick somebody because they drew a very, very poorly drawn 18
Are you fucking... I got another legendary land, and I got...
And it's literally what I put in what I made.
Kinda.
So,
Sure.
I got the same thing out of the second pack that I opened. I'm happy. I'm having fun.
Oh, the soft text, the tone in that thing. Sounded so hurt. I'm having so much fun right now. Wow.
I just opened some cards for my husband for Yu-Gi-Oh yesterday, and I found him a like a super rare card that's like worth like $50.
Now you see, I would have loved getting that, but instead I got something worth 3 cents.
I swear to God, see when I was younger, I must have been collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards, because see the back of it, you know, it's a little circle, you know, the basic. I've seen that before, and I remember having them in my house, and I used to be like swiping them out, but I never watched it. I think I just collected them because I saw them maybe being sold at a shop or something.
Probably. I mean, it was very popular for a while, and then it's still popular, but
dark shade of brown. Be careful. There's an archery for be careful. I need black.
There's another one.
I'm tired.
That guy's a paintbrush.
Birdie?
I'm scared. That motherfucker got a paintbrush. She about to fucking. It's like a gang shootout where it's just like instead of like guns, it's just like messing up their art by just drawing with a paintbrush over it or like an eraser.
I love it.
Griefers versus good artist.
Oh my gosh.
I have to take a picture of my art quickly before somebody breaks it.
I didn't know that's what Elmo was eating was a griefer. That's amazing.
It's really rough part, but I gotta do shit. Quickly. Wrong one. Someone's gonna grief it.
Somebody
Better hurry.
Better shut
He'll never find out it's me.
Colonel Sanders was so kicked.
Can I lay my eggs in your toaster?
There we go.
There goes the first drawing.
Can I lay my eggs?
That sounds inappropriate.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Hey! I will take off. Stop! Crackhead. Why am I being targeted now?
Oh, your first time Emerald? Yeah.
I full-on mean a chicken, putting it on the fucking toaster.
Oh shit!
Why can't I do that?
Should I give my robot boy some nipples? I'm gonna give him some nipples on it. Fuck yeah, dude. Nipples time. Black nipples.
My chicken actually eggs in your toaster. Only your toaster.
Hello, Solar. Why do you guys permaban instead of locate?
I don't permaban.
No, I'm gonna leave it here and see how long it gets. So long it lasts.
I'm okay with the host. I can only kick people.
This is
Yeah,
a single whiteboard.
Please don't say that guy open.
My point is, like,
Oh,
they
thank
can
God
change
that guy
his
wasn't
people.
on freaking. Thank God that guy wasn't on
People get banned if it's like deliberate or like when it's like really offensive or something. But if it's a kick, then it's just like they did something.
Wait, so if I kept on wearing that outfit, you're gonna.
But if they're banned, they can appeal their ban on the Discord.
Aww,
No one,
my boy
no one
disappeared.
Wear it and then you start doing like
don't
Well,
want to.
if you
They got
really
banned.
don't want,
doing swastikas, then you can get kicked or banned.
Yeah, but
It really depends.
if they're banned, then that gives them a bad image of you in their head.
Also, if they get repetitively, like,
what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
like my guy, like I'm wide stepping for some reason. That's kind of weird.
Name, and then you just get banned.
Because if you get warned multiple times and you keep on doing
Hold on. Okay, so if I was in the Discord and I knew a moderator
I wanted
banned
to
me,
keep that to me.
as a person that knew the Discord banned me, I'd get mad at them.
Hey, Emerald.
A brown
Hey,
beanie
Emerald.
will do.
Down here at the table, demon. I know that I did mess up your stuff. You want to?
You doing markers, bro? You doing markers, bro?
Yeah.
Yo, what kind of markers you got?
I got the forest marker.
You answered that pretty quick there, man.
If you want to go out there,
asking for a
Let me get a little sniff of it.
Asking for a friend.
Thanks for correcting
We're
me.
just asking for
Yeah, that's very
man.
specific. You've been banned, haven't you? You have.
No,
Yes,
no.
you have.
no.
No? I'm just asking
Are you on PlayStation?
Hey, Jack.
Why?
Lindsay.
He's on
I'm just
PlayStation.
asking a question that's very specific. That's all.
Power voice marker in
He's
there.
on PlayStation?
Yeah, he's on. When you open someone's profile, above their profile photo, it'll say like PlayStation
Oh.
Network.
Yeah, no, it doesn't show it for me.
I did.
You can also switch your account now. You could also get another account because this game is free and you can just...
Alright, the thing is that if somebody wants
Hey,
to
down there,
seriously...
down here, you want some marker?
my kids are
Mark
strong.
deal.
I'm very sorry. Somebody seriously wants to be banned, they can get on the Discord. If they really don't want to be banned.
Why are you using a marker to all these things?
What do your kids want?
So,
do they want crack again?
Hey you want some marker?
They want candy. I don't know.
Give me fucking candy.
Or credit?
I would get some like candy that would take a while to eat, like a jawbreaker or something.
Yes.
You know, you're fucking demonic.
Look what I drew.
Don't mix that. Don't just block that guy.
I still don't know where the thing is.
Music, what are you doing? I said I'm playing some phone music, okay, and then he raided me.
Just, like I said, just block that kid. Well, not even kid, man. Just block that guy. Cause if you
You mean the 34-year-old? No.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm gonna invite him to see what he needs.
Okay. I'll keep an eye on him.
I don't know what to draw.
There's being perverted to one person or something, but then someone being perverted to you, that's a whole other thing, so I'm keeping my eye on that. Okay.
Yo, bro, what are you talking to?
No, don't worry about it, shut up.
Specific.
No, oh my god, shut up!
Specific.
Hold on, I need to get on this slide.
I need to get on my phone and
Specific.
Hey, shut up! No, better not.
Great.
Specific.
What is
Are you, thanks.
what is this supposed to be? What is
fire airplane?
Oh my gosh!
Fucking fire airplane.
Hey, come look at this drawing real quick.
I'm fucking watching all of these. That's terrifying.
What
is it?
I'm gonna
buy the
Buddy 83.
Why is he climbing in? Wait, is he? Who is that?
This is literally the Buddy 83.
Please tell me why you could choose happily looking at a murder. Oh, can you? Oh my! Look at this cute ass photo.
It's Elmo eating a griefer.
That's hot.
Oh, it's a griefer eating.
Eat?
My only words are that's hot. I have no other words to say but it's hot.
Hi. Oh shit! I need to recolor this.
Yep.
Okay, guys, did not work at all. But no, I didn't ask. I'm gonna do another live stream soon. On Fortnite and stuff, like do game. Yeah, boy. I need to join them again. Well, doesn't really matter, does it? We still have plenty of games. Alright. No eyes. Okay.
Before you start, I dare you to play this place. And also, you can play this with free players if you want. You can invite your two best buddies to this mob in a party.
I am the killer. I am gonna be hunting you down. See you soon. Before you start, I dare you to play this by yourself. And also,
hello?
play this with 3 players if you want. Invite your 2 best
hello?
buddies to this mob in the party. Anyway, I am the killer. I am gonna be hunting you down. See you soon.
No. No. No way. I want one people are playing. Not one that people aren't playing. See you soon. I am the killer. See you soon. Anybody? No. Sorry, but no. Maybe I shouldn't play it. Oh, maybe one more. Huh? Don't be scared, dare you? Spooky Service Streams. Cover your eyes, everybody. Everybody, cover your eyes. Oh no. Oh no. Hijo. Ah! Hello, Mama iPod.
Game on.
Guys. fine.
This message is brought to you by Fazbear Entertainment. As the night guard, it is your job to watch over the pizzeria and animatronics. Your shift is from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. It should be noted that the animatronics do move around after hours, but this is totally normal. If you see an animatronic outside your office, it's best not to let them in, as they could damage valuable equipment. Shut your doors if you see anyone too close. It is also recommended that you keep a close eye on Freddy using the cameras on your desk, less when you check on him often. Then there's Foxy. Foxy doesn't move much, and probably won't leave Pirate's Cove, but if he does, he might be heading for your left door. The last thing is that you need to be careful not to run out of power. After hours, the building is only running off of a backup generator, and using too much power could result in a blackout, leaving you defenseless. That concludes the Fazbear Entertainment Security Guard training day. See you tomorrow.
Game on.
Game on boobs. Game on my boobs. Game on my boobs. Game on my boobs. We might actually make it for my boobs. 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 Thankful for my boobs. Thankful for my boobs.
This message is brought to you by Fazbear Entertainment. As the night guard, it is your job to watch over the pizzeria and animatronics. Your
over.
Game on my boobs. Game on my boobs. Guys, oh my god, they golden birthday. Nice. Everybody else at school. No. I just want my cousin to play with me. My cousin, man. You want to play with me? Never play. Oh my god, sorry guys. Boo 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 boo.
Game on.
Games on. Game. Here, everybody. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go game chat. Just, oh my god. I'm already in game chat. Hooray! I'm going to go to party chat. Already. Already, 2 people have died. Why does everybody keep on dying? Here. I've been revived. On the lock. Everybody on the lock. Sorry guys, my fur just tickled.
Out.
Here. Thank you. Let me get my sword out.
Out.
Here. Guys. Why would you want to touch them? Why am I the person who has to lose everybody? Here. Where is the guy? Where is he? Another round of them. Over here, quick. Guys, anybody? You can't do that. Vote kick. Vote kick.
Ready to start.
Dum dum.
Game on.
Game on. Okay, this time no one steals my. Oh god. No one steals my loot. I got the fire sword, boy. Pancakes. Pancakes.
Channel for you that I think you're going to really enjoy.
I can have.
Watch.
Oh, you meant like clothes?
No. I don't think you're really curious about it.
Rising.
Talks about everything.
Is it funny?
Yeah, I think it's some humor. It's all cartoons. What do you wanna learn about? The French Revolution. The Falklands. Hold on a second.
The French Revolution or what?
French Revolution Part 1.
Evil.
What about the American Civil War? Part 1.
I'll watch it. What?
Let them eat cake.
Where does it say that?
This video was made possible.
What you got for me? You got nothing.
Clicking the link
It's
below.
mine. What
Amazing 75% off. That's only $2.99 per month.
Baby, you have baby on me.
Limited time. Also, new French Revolution merch, including King Louis and Marie Antoinette character pins, complete with detachable heads, and just like the real thing. So I said to the marquee, what do you think I am? Some dirty peasant?
What is it, you lucky boy? You got coffee for me?
Wow, that Marie Antoinette sure is pretty. Wouldn't want to be Prince Louis. That's going to be a lot of responsibility. Especially. Quite. Thank you one and all for attending the royal marriage of my grandson, the future king, to the Archduchess of Austria. Now for the very awkward yet historically accurate part of the ceremony, where we all watch them get into bed together. All right, now that's out of. Let's leave the royal couple to it. You better give us air, you fat, ill-bred boy. 99. A lot of responsibility. Francis is by natural ruin.
This channel is very cute and adults that know about history.
Why? That's going to be a lot of responsibility. Francis is by natural ruin. Freaking weirdo. France, the most prosperous, cultured, and beautiful nation in the world, as it had been for centuries. An exquisite social culture, with the king and the upper classes throwing crazy parties every night, enjoying high living and fine dining. Who cares if they were only able to do so off the backs of the hard-working, starving poor? What are they going to do? Revolt? They're only 80% of the population. No. Life in France is great. What's that, friend? You want to go to war with Britain and increase your power? Go for it, little buddy. You do you. And you lost. Now we're in severe financial debt. We have no money. What do we do? Should we stop partying? Heck no. Party harder. That's okay. The peasantry will take us. They were created by God to do all the work, and we were created to have all the benefits. And they are. That's just how society works, and we've all just Why? Why what? Just because they were born into it? fair and unequal, and I, for one, wow. And so began the age of great fingers across France and beautiful after all. Grandma had smallpox this morning, which means good news. So just to sum up, France is in severe the populace are beginning to question how necessary you are. I believe in you, champ. No. Prince Louis Capet became king in 1774. He was a notoriously weak man, and he knew it. He very difficult with ruling nation, never mind one in crisis, and he was easily manipulated. One of his first acts was to try to get revenge on the British by financing their American colony's revolution. Hey, we're an independent nation now. That was real swell of you, Louis. Couldn't have done it without you. Glad I could help. So hey, about all that money we lent you, when can we get that back? Yep, you're a great guy. I'll never forget what you've done for us. Real glad I could help. About that money, gotta go now, chump. Best of luck to you. No. And now France was in even more debt. France is poor, suffering under the strain of economic ruin. Watch as the nobility continued to live as though nothing was wrong. In particular, they grew increasingly disdainful of the Queen, Marie Antoinette, as she continued to spend all of France's money on her own luxurious lifestyle and fashion. While the peasants were breaking their backs in the fields, she was walking around like, hey, my hair is a boat. I'm not making that up. Her hair really was a boat, and her lavish spending earned her the nickname Madame Deficit. And speaking of the Queen, there was also a long-standing scandal around the fact that the King took a very long time to appoint her, and the working classes of Paris began ridiculing the royal couple with lewd pamphlets depicting the Queen as a court thought, and the King as a wuss, unable to fulfill his marital duty. Respect for the monarchy was at an all-time low, as France's finances were spiraling out of control, and the King and his aides really only had one solution to the crisis. Tax the poor. Tax the poor. We could do a sexy shoot. Tax the poor. And so it was. The poor, who were already struggling to make ends meet, found themselves being taxed from every direction. Hey, I'm the royal tax collector. Looks like you get to pay your income tax. By the way, how many windows you got in that house of yours? 3? Oof. Yep, there's gonna be a tax for that. Hey, your local priest, have you paid your church tithe yet? Well, at least this one is going to the good work of God. Sure. God. I think this year's God. Tax collector here. Oh, and I brought some goons with me. Just a few quick questions. How much salt did you buy this year? About 7 kilos, I think? Yep. Okay, there's gonna be a tax for that. Oh, what's that over there? And that's extra salt I held over from last year, so I wouldn't have to buy as much this year. Oh, yeah, there's a tax for that. And what are you doing with all this salt? Well, obviously cooking. On the table. Yep. And preserving fish and meat. Oh no. Yep. And there's a tax for that. Hey, how old is he? He's 9. And so he's purchased his required amount of salt for this year, right? What? No, he's 9. Uh-oh. Sorry, little Timmy. Looks like I'm gonna have to tax you for that. Yep, salty. There's going to be a tax for that. And that's not all. A huge portion of the peasants' harvest had to be given up. And there was also the labor tax, where peasants were required to work a certain number of days for their local lord without pay. Obviously, people weren't too happy with these taxation policies, and the aggressive nature of these private tax farmers sometimes even escalated to violence. In particular, though, the people really hated how inconsistent the taxation rules were across the nation, and also the fact that the first 2 estates often had to pay very little, if any tax at all. And so, the anger continued to grow. France had a population that was just about ready to explode. What could push them over the edge? How about a touch of natural disaster? A series of harsh summers and winters left the peasants' harvests in ruin, meaning they had no food or money, and the cost of bread skyrocketed. Of course, the upper classes had massive stocks of grain and wheat, so they were virtually untouched by this new crisis. But now the poor really were starving, and they began to riot. Women took to the streets. Bakeries were raided, were sometimes even hanged.
In the big shop.
Wow, this is really getting out of control. Your Majesty, we need some decisive action. You need to step up and lead us. What will you do? Okay, I've got this. I know. I'll summon the States General, and they'll decide what to do. You really are a fat, ill-bred boy. The Estates General, the closest thing France had to a government, apart from the king. It was a purely advisory body, and was rarely summoned. In fact, it hadn't been summoned for 175 years prior to this. But with a severe crisis, the king felt the time was right to call on the government to help. The Estates General was made up of representatives from the three estates, that is, the clergy, the nobility, and everybody else. Okay, thanks for coming, everyone. The first order of business is regarding the clergy and nobility. You all get Porsches. You get a Porsche, and you get a Porsche, and you get a Porsche. Everybody gets a Porsche. And now into the second order of business. France is completely out of money. Like, it's never been this bad before. Anyone got any ideas? How about we all get Lamborghinis next time? The king decided that in order to make a decision, they had to come up with a voting system. Okay, the clergy. You have a population of 130,000, so you'll get one vote. The nobility. You have a population of 150,000, so you'll also get one vote. And the third estate. You have a population of 27 million people and make up 98% of the population. Very impressive. One vote. The third estate were obviously pretty unhappy with this system because they kept on finding that this would happen. We propose to raise taxes on the third estate. All in favor? All opposed? 2-1. Taxes will be raised on the third estate. We propose a motion that says the first two estates are a bunch of poo-poo heads. All in favor? All opposed? 2-1. It's official. We are not poo-poo heads. The third estate realized that any attempt at reform would be outvoted by the two upper estates, and they thought that was kind of lame. So they decided that since they were 98% of the population, they could go off to their own government, make their own laws, and take over the running of the country. And so, the National Assembly was born. The third estate was now in control, and there was nothing the king could do to stop the two estates even join their cause. Some of these men formed a radical new political party called the Jacobin Club, and quickly became leading figures. While many members of the third estate simply wanted more equality, a growing number in this Jacobin faction would begin calling for something even crazier, the removal of the king entirely. Around Paris, the third estate heard rumor of the gathering military force, and they feared the king was planning to round them up and arrest them. Left unchecked, often boils over into anger, and anger detonates with violence. The angry people of Paris, after centuries of cruel inequality, harsh oppression, even starvation, fearful of having their new movement for reform demolished so soon, decided that it was now or never to take action. Screw reform. They decided they'd do one better. How about revolution? The people of Paris, believing the French military was preparing to attack, decided they should arm themselves. The National Assembly announced the creation of a bourgeois militia, the National Guard, and immediately, many troops from the French military defected over to the revolutionary side. In the early hours of July 14th, 1789, a large crowd stormed and raided the Hotel des Invalides, a military hospital where they were able to secure a large number of rifles. The bad news was they weren't able to find. They knew exactly where to get some. A prison fortress and a symbol of royal tyranny towering over Paris, the Bastille. Mid-morning, the crowd gathered around the Bastille and demanded that the man in charge, Governor Delaunay, surrender the prison and hand over the gunpowder. Obviously, Governor Delaunay was like, no way, so he stalled for time by a few members of the crowd in for negotiations. The crowd, still waiting outside, quickly became impatient, and before long, they stormed the fortress, taking on the French troops inside. Your Majesty, we've received the people have surrounded the Bastille. Governor Delaunay will hold them off. No need to worry. Actually, Your Majesty, it appears the crowd is now headed away from the Bastille. You see? What did I tell you? Clearly Governor Delani has defeated them and has them on the run. No need to worry. Your Majesty, isn't that Governor Delani's head on a pike? Well, clearly Governor Delani has taken on the form of a bodiless pikehead deity, and the people are so enamored with him, they're parading him around the city. No need to worry at all. When the National Assembly heard about the violence that had taken place, they had two options. Either one, they denounce it and try to carry on the revolution using peaceful means, or two, they say, damn, you stuck his head on a pike? That's pretty hardcore. And we love it. Incidentally, they went with option number 2. Some historians believe this reaction paved the way for the utter violence and bloodshed that would become the legacy of the French Revolution. This widespread acceptance and bloodshed that would become the legacy of the French Revolution. Wait, incidentally, they went with option. That's pretty hardcore. And we love it. Damn, you stuck his head on a pike? That's pretty hardcore. And we love it. Incidentally, they went with option number 2. Some historians believe this reaction paved the way for the utter violence and bloodshed that would become the legacy of the French Revolution. This widespread acceptance of violence during the Revolution is also largely credited to the writings of a certain Jean-Paul Marat, a man of science with a horrible skin condition that kept him confined to a bathtub. He began writing a radical newspaper he affectionately named The Friend of the People. Citizens of France, be very afraid. Given the chance, the king and the nobility won't hesitate to massacre us all. The solution is simple. Execute them. Kill every last one of them. Cut off 1,000 heads. And if that's not enough, cut off 1,000 more. Oh, hey, Mr. Squeaky. What are you doing down there? You're so cute. Aw, I love you too, Mr. Squeaky. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. Killed them all. It became one of the most popular publications in Paris during the Revolution, and it succeeded in spreading ever-increasing fear and anger among the people. In August, leaders of the National Assembly, with help from a certain Thomas Jefferson, adopted the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen, an incredible document that guaranteed liberty and equal rights to all men. When I say men, I mean men. Despite its glaring shortcomings in gender equality, the massively influential declaration would go on to inspire the struggle for liberty and equality across the planet for centuries. However, back in France, the vast majority of the people weren't really so concerned with enlightened ideas of equality as much as they were concerned with the fact that they were still starving. Bread was still expensive as hell and hard to come by. The people felt that one reason nothing had been done yet about the crisis was because the king simply couldn't see the problem. He lived in Versailles, a full 20 kilometers southwest of Paris, and as a result, lived in comfort, separated from his dirty, stinking subjects. On October 5th, a crowd of women, 7,000 strong, decided they'd do something unprecedented. They decided they'd remove that separation and confront the king directly. The women marched all the way to the king's palace in Versailles. Along the way, the crowd continued to grow into the tens of thousands, and when they arrived, they demanded an audience with the king. What are those things outside the palace? They're poor people, Your Majesty. That's poor people? They say they're hungry. Hungry? Then let them eat cake. Wow. See, this is the exact mess in the first place. They're so out of touch. They're writhing around in the filth, breaking their back to barely scrape by, and they come to you demanding just a basic ability to feed themselves, and you think a slice of cake will sort them out? Well, then let them eat Taco Bell Crunchwrap Supreme. Wow. They're not that desperate. Members of the crowd actually managed to break into the palace with the intention of killing the queen, who narrowly escaped through a secret passage in her bedroom. The enraged mob killed several members of the royal guard and raised their heads on pikes, which, if you haven't noticed yet, is something they were quite fond of doing. The king had no choice but to come out and talk to the crowd. He agreed to accept his new position, sharing power with the revolutionary government, and to return to Paris with the crowd, removing the separation between king and subject. King Louis had a problem with people constantly raiding his palace, but one thing he didn't have a problem with was people raiding his computer, because he used NordVPN. If, like me, you don't like hackers stealing your data, password, night thieves, and girlfriend, then you need to check out NordVPN. With over 5,000 servers in 60 countries, it allows you to surf the net anonymously and safely with no personal data logging. It's super easy to use. You can take a trip to a server in Japan with just a click of a button. And while you're there, why not check out some sweet Japanese Netflix? Or maybe you want to watch a certain oversimplified video that for some reason has been blocked in your country. Well, with NordVPN, you can. NordVPN NordVPN gives you access to super fast servers and much more. And if you're not happy with it, it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Get NordVPN now by clicking the link below, nordvpn.com/oversimplified, and get an amazing 75% off. That's only $2.99 per month with an additional month free for a limited time. And you'll also be helping to support my channel. So again, that's nordvpn.com/oversimplified. King Louis and his family were now in the Tuileries Palace in Paris. For the next couple of years, he watched as the revolutionary government began to strip away his power, and fearing for his safety, he had to stay on their good side. Hey, look who it is. It's my favorite revolutionary. I'm your #1 fan. What can I do for you? Hey, King Louis. So we've made a few decisions. First, all of your friends in the nobility are going to have to pay taxes the same as everyone else. Great idea. I love it. And as a side note, the tax money can no longer pay for parties. Great. I hate those parties. They're so awkward. And also, we're taking away your Porsche. Oh, come on! I mean, yay. The king continually found demand after being made of him to prove his support for the revolution. On one occasion, a mob would invade the palace and demand he wear the revolutionary bonnet. This is the face of a man who is definitely pretending he wants to wear that bonnet. Now around here, I want to mention that one thing King Louis had a problem with was people constantly raiding his palace. But one thing he didn't have a problem with was raiding noobs. On this video's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid is free. You can join. Isn't simple. Good luck, and I'll see you there. Now where was I? Oh yeah. Seeing the situation rapidly turning against him, the king decided it might be a good idea to leave France and mount a campaign to retake his country from abroad. Luckily for him, he was married to an Austrian, so on the night of June 20th, 1791, the king and his family disguised themselves as servants and attempted to flee to the Austrian Netherlands. The royal carriage made a stop in the town of Varennes, and the postmaster there was like, "Hey guys, what's up? Where are you off to? We are but a collection of inconspicuous servants heading for the border for no particular reason at all." Say, you, the fat one, you look kind of familiar. Aren't you the king? Nope. Let me see your passport. It says here you're King Louis the 16th. Nope, not me. Take him away, boys. The king was promised to return to Paris, but now the jig was up. His lack of support for the revolution was clear to all, and many considered him a straight-up traitor who tried to abandon his people. As a result, the new constitution of 1791 completely reduced his powers to that of a simple figurehead, a constitutional monarch. However, radicals, such as those in the Jacobin Club, were outraged that the king wasn't to be removed entirely. So a month later, these radicals staged a protest on the Champ de Mars, calling for the king's removal. The government of Paris feared an insurrection was mounting, and they sent the military to disperse the crowd. The confrontation escalated and resulted in the Revolutionary National Guard firing on a crowd of revolutionaries. It was a massacre. The incident exposed a deep division within the Brotherhood of the Revolution. On one side, the moderates who wanted to keep the king as a figurehead. On the other, radicals who wanted to see the king deposed and heads rolled. In the wake of the massacre, these radicals received a wave of support. And speaking of rolling heads, one form of equality the revolution introduced was equality in execution. This meant no more torturous drawing and quartering, no more inhumane hanging. They wanted all criminals, regardless of economic status, to receive the same penalty, a quick and painless one. Luckily, a man by the name of Dr. Joseph Guillotine had an idea. A heavy blade that falls like thunder. The head flies up, blood spurts. The national razor.
Real-time voice changer for gamers and content creators. More than 90 ways of having fun with your voice. Complete integrated soundboard. Create fully customized voices. Download now.
Guillotine made its debut in 1791 as the new form of execution. The writings of Marat and others continued to call for the execution of anyone suspected of working against the revolution. For him, this included some members of the clergy and nobility who had previously benefited from the system of inequality that existed before the revolution. In many parts of the countryside, local lords had found themselves become a target. Sire, the peasants, they're revolting. Oh, come on, that's a bit harsh. Sure, they smell a bit, but I wouldn't say they're revolting. Oh, yes, I see what you mean. Increasingly, these French aristocrats began fleeing France to find solitude in other parts of Europe. And once again, fear began to take hold. The privileged classes of these foreign nations didn't like what they were seeing because they feared revolutionary ideas may spread to their own land. The National Assembly, actually now the Legislative Assembly, feared that these nations may decide to attack. Then why don't we attack them first? No, you idiots, we are definitely not ready for war yet. Did somebody say something? France declared war on Austria in April 1790. Immediately got pummeled. It also didn't help that Austria's ally, Prussia, joined in the fighting. The Prussian Duke of Brunswick posted a letter warning the revolutionaries that Prussia 1792 and immediately got pummeled. It also didn't help that declared war in Austria in April 1790. Did somebody say something? France declared war in Austria in April 1792 and immediately got pummeled. It also didn't help that Austria's ally, Prussia, joined in the fighting. The Prussian Duke of Brunswick posted a letter warning the revolutionaries that if anything happened to the king, he would burn Paris to the ground. The Duke's letter proved to be a massive success in inspiring the people of Paris to do the exact opposite of what he intended. They were enraged. And on the 10th of August 1792, the tension in the city exploded, and a mob stormed the king's palace. Fighting broke out between the revolutionaries and the king's Swiss guard, with casualties in the hundreds. King Louis fled and took refuge in the chamber of the Legislative Assembly, where Robespierre and his radical Jacobins were gaining ever more power. Given the developing situation, the chamber decided to hold a vote, and in what some considered to be a second revolution, it was decided to suspend the monarchy entirely. King Louis XVI was now just plain old Louis, and he was sent to a prison cell where an eye could be kept on him. A month later, the newly established National Convention officially declared the French Republic, and society underwent a massive change. Enlightened ideas of democracy and equality were being implemented, but very quickly, these ideas seemed to become secondary to fear, paranoia, and a thirst for blood. The new republic began working to violently remove any semblance of the old royalist spread across Europe. One British newspaper wondered, are these the rights of man? Is this the liberty of human nature? But there was still one man in particular that Robespierre and his radicals really wanted to see executed. Austria and Prussia pledged that after they defeated France, they'd return King Louis to the throne. Well, checkmate Austria and Prussia, because you can't return a man to the throne if he's already dead. Citizen Louis Capet was put on trial for treason. Obviously, he was found guilty, but his punishment was less certain. Many moderates wanted to simply deport him, but Robespierre insisted the revolution could only live if the king was dead. A vote was held, and by just one vote, Louis was sentenced to the guillotine. If you don't mind, I'd like to say a few words first. Gentlemen, I am innocent of everything of which I am accused. Wait, you're too loud. They can't hear me. Hang on, I haven't finished yet. Wait, dude. Uncool. In her prison cell, Annette heard the guns fired, signaling her husband's death. Would meet the same fate. Back
Win. Show me where to go.
Research on global investment opportunities. Dave does research on how to become a level 60 wizard. Steve follows the feed for the latest market news. Dave follows the feed for the latest cat videos. Steve has a watch list for promising investments. Dave has a watch list too. So why is Dave just as good an investor as Steve? It's because Dave used eToro's copy traders automatically replicate Steve's trading activity. Whenever Steve makes a trade, Dave does too. Trade like a Steve with eToro, the world's leading social trading platform.
On the war front, France had old expectations and actually managed to push the enemy back. But then more countries joined the coalition against France. What do we do? Script the each region had a certain quota of army. However, not everyone was happy with this new law. You see, Paris was definitely a hotbed for revolutionary fervor. Some of the regions outside of Paris weren't quite so keen on the revolution. Some were largely still conservative, still supported the church, and just didn't suffer from that much inequality before the revolution. So as the revolution turned increasingly violent and anti-Christian, many were outraged. Now, they were being conscripted to fight for the new republic they hated. That was the last straw. Counter-revolutionary uprisings erupted in a number of regions across France. Some would last for years, such as in the northwest, where a large-scale uprising was led by the Owls. Why were they called the Owls? Because their leader was named Jean Owl. Why was he called Jean Owl? Because he could do a really good impression of an owl. Really? That's what we're going with? Just because this guy can do an impression of one? Hit him with it, Jean. Hoot, hoot. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. The Gendarmerie uprising lasted all the way until 1800. In the summer of 1793, the southern city of Toulon invited the British Navy over for some tea and crumpets. And then they said they'd possibly like to stay and occupy the city. An important naval base, this was a heavy blow to the Republic, who sent a relatively unknown young captain by the name of Napoleon Bonaparte to help stage a siege of the city. Toulon was recaptured by France in the winter. For his service, Napoleon was promoted to brigadier general. Infamous counter-revolution, however, occurred. Revolutionary forces Marat was known was arrested and sent to the guillotine. Restoring peace, however, and with her, Marat became a martyr. Symbols of death in crucifix. In death, he became an even more powerful inspiration for the extreme level of and that's and with her was quickly arrested and sent to the guillotine. Pretty vital. Well, they ain't seen nothing yet, son. Radical. How they behave. Obviously, criticizing this new system would quickly have you sent off to the guillotine. But that's not all. Even the most minor offense could have you tried before the Revolutionary Tribunal. Hello, Citizen Martin. Monsieur? Did I just hear you say Monsieur? That's the old style of address, my friend. To the guillotine! You know what? I didn't like it, but I do feel kind of bad for the king and his family. Oof, expressing sympathy for the royal family, are we? To the guillotine! 12 sous for a loaf of bread? That's way overpriced. To the guillotine! Man, this bread line is taking forever. To the guillotine! And you look like you're thinking anti-revolutionary thoughts. To the guillotine. Max, we're sending way too many people to the guillotine. To the guillotine! Chop, 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 chop. It was insane. All across France, about 40,000 people were killed for suspected crimes against liberty. Let's say your neighbor won't stop mowing the lawn at 7 in the morning. Well, then all you gotta do is tell the government they've been talking smack about the revolution. And there's a good chance they'll end up in front of the tribunal. Maybe they'll even be executed, taking a metaphorical load off their shoulders and a literal off theirs. The most prominent reign of terror was a certain Marie Antoinette, who was tried and found guilty of treason in 1793. She expected to be brought to the guillotine in a royal carriage, fit for a queen. All the Republic could provide for her, however, was a wooden tumbril. At 37 years old, the most hated woman in French history her end on the 6th of October, 1793. Robespierre had saved the revolution through terror. Internal dissent was being suppressed. The food situation was no longer quite as bad. Even the French military had got its act together again and pummeled the Allies at the Battle of Fleurus. Danton and his followers, the time was right to try to normalize the French Republic. Hey, Robespierre. So we were thinking that since things are finally going better, maybe we should rein in the terror. And while we're on it, we could possibly start taking it easier on the church. And also try to end this costly war. Oh, crap. As time went on, Robespierre seemed to go, for lack of a better term, a bit mental. He was hell-bent on creating what he, a republic, republic of virtue, and for him, this meant amping up the... He was hell-bent on creating what he called a republic, and for it meant... As time went on, Robespierre seemed to go... Oh, crap. As time went on, Robespierre seemed to go, for lack of a better term, a bit mental. He was hell-bent on creating what he called a republic of virtue, and for him, this meant amping up the blood. He was hell-bent on creating what he called a republic of virtue, and for him, this meant amping up the bloodshed even more. Throughout the spring and summer of 1794, executions reached an unprecedented level during a period known as the Great Terror. Even those closest to him found their way to the... They dared oppose and action, and he began alienating himself from the rest of the convention, created a new deist religion, being, along with the new annual festival of the Supreme Being. And I think Robespierre is really starting to lose it. He thinks he's a god or something. Sure, he's gone a little extreme, but he doesn't. My children, there are immortal souls in the virtue of my road. Oh, lost. Robespierre. I have and many who are on this list. What do you think of that? I think we should send Rose first. Poland. 2 days later, Robespierre became the prime victim of the monstrous terror and paranoia he created. Historical accounts of the revolution end here with the death of Robespierre and his officially continued for another years until 1789. So what happened between now and then? Well, to the fall of Robespierre, a more moderate control of the convention to restore to the government. Now, themselves during a period in the hands of a single individual. This new government was being established. Who wanted to bring the monarchy back to France saw this moment as an opportunity to strike. They staged an insurrection in Paris. They battled the National Guard in the streets. Luckily, firing on the from this moment, the Paris would never again be able to stage a popular uprising. For his French armies in and directly and struggled the social customs of both royal and Aragon. They know what to do themselves. No longer moved half when England and
Did she?
Into a huge
Welcome to Star Stable, the exciting online game where horses, adventure, mysteries waiting. Ride, train, and care for your horses. Meet new friends. And
Holy smokes! Christopher Columbus, that is no way to address the king and queen of Spain. What is wrong with you? Okay, so you're now looking for a new trade route to India, right? Right. And the earth is round, right? Right. So I'm thinking we can just sail the other way around the planet, right? Yeah. So I set sail, right? Mm-hmm. And I reach India, right? Right. Wrong. I did not reach India. I did not. Alright, no, alright, get to the point. Did you know there's a whole nother freaking continent out there? Okay, and you think I should know about this? Why? I'm sorry. Gold everywhere. Gold? Columbus landed in Central America in October 1492, and he had the time. By that I mean he went on a huge theft and murder spree. He stole gold, jewelry, and then he returned to shore rich. Discovered items such as tobacco, the pineapple, turkeys.
Oh, the American Revolution.
Oversimplified. Columbus discovered
Christopher Columbus.
And you'd be partially right. In the 11th century, leave that first year of life. But hey, if you love Vikings so much, then why don't you check out today's sponsor, Vikings War Plans, the resort.
I'm gonna end the live stream right here. And we're gonna need a live stream soon. So boy, oh yeah, I